Hello.
My name is Nora Darwish.
Very nice to meet you.
Nice to
Kimberly
meet you.
Ann.
Nice to meet you.
Good.
Nice to meet you, sir. And I brought resumes with me. If you want to look at it and send it to me.
Hey, Carlin, I don't see it in the other room.
And one for you.
Thank you.
I didn't see it on in the other room. It was just a blank screen. Are you sure it's streaming to the room? Sorry to throw you off kilter there.
No, you're good. Take your time.
Did you open up that link I sent you?
Oh, I didn't do anything on there. I incorrectly assumed it would just be on the screen. Just use it as a computer and open up that link.
That's right.
2 minutes.
I'm ready. It's fine. Happens.
Well, while we're waiting, I'll say this, I don't think I break the rules. We're very proud of you for going through this process.
Thank you.
We know
Thank you
understand
so
it's
much.
not-
I'm very glad that I joined Student Alumni Ambassadors. They offered me so many opportunities, and it's one of the best decisions that I made my freshman year. Yeah.
We know this is going to be hard, and we're not going to make it easy because we want it to feel like a real job.
I never had a streaming interview before, but there's
To
a
be
first
fair,
for
neither have
everything.
any of us.
It's
Streaming interview.
It's a new experience, but
Perhaps Skype, but not.
yes.
All right, so I think we'll go ahead and get started.
Okay.
So just so that you understand the structure, we'll each ask you a question kind of in a round, and I'm going to get started. And so I'd like for you to talk about your qualifications, what experience you have, and what makes you a qualified candidate for this position.
Okay. So I looked at the job description for a program assistant, and I believe that I fit many of the qualifications. I work as a resident assistant, and I worked as a peer mentor and an orientation leader over the summer. I gained a lot of experience from my jobs working for the university, and I was also a member of the UMW Constitution Review Board, so I'm very familiar with university policies and how to enforce them and how to engage students in their community and in their academics and their environment as a whole. The job, I think working for a higher education institution is very rewarding, and I was lucky enough to work with with my role models such as Dean Jones, Dave Fleming, and John Huey, and they have greatly impacted my life. I can't even begin to describe how much they impacted me and shaped the person I am, and I think it would be great to do the same thing for someone else, to contribute back to the community and to work for a higher institution, a higher education institution. I think is very rewarding and giving back, and I would love to see other students grow into their full potential and find their place, not just in college, but in the real world when they graduate. And I think this job would give me an opportunity to build that community, to facilitate that relationship with the university and the students.
Hi. Jeremy says you guys can go ahead. Get started.
Okay, we'll do that.
All right.
Well, thank you. I'm sorry the audience missed your first question. You did very well.
No, that's fine.
I'm going to ask you the next question. Again, I'm Lisa. What do you consider to be your greatest strength and your greatest weakness?
For my strength, I think I'm a very optimistic person. I see every opportunity as a chance to learn for professional development as well as personal development. So I love challenging myself and doing stuff that is out of my comfort zone to gain more knowledge and more experiences in different fields. I do not like limiting myself, so I always try new things. I double major in business administration, and international affairs because I wanted to be a well-rounded person and I wanted to bring different knowledge to my field. And I think that's one of my strengths, that I view everything as a learning experience, whether it's a job or whether it's something like new. I just joined a swing club on campus, and I can't dance at all, but I like to get out of my comfort zone and try something new and learn from it. And I think that's my strength. For my weakness, well, in the past, naturally I'm a very shy person, and in the past I used to be quite self-conscious of my accent, but now I view being bilingual as a positive attribute, and I try using it constructively as I can, whether it's translating for custom border protection officers, or trying to help my younger siblings retain their native language, or translating for my parents. So I don't see it as a weakness anymore, but for a very long time I viewed that as a weakness of my personality and myself.
Nora, this position requires the managing of a lot of different projects
For
simultaneously.
sure.
Projects, events, lots of things going on at the same time. So if you were in this position, can you tell us a little bit about how you would manage your time and how you would prioritize the project?
Yes. So for the past 4 years at college has taught me how to multitask and how to manage my time wisely. As I said, I'm double majoring, so I'm always having a full load of classes, 18 credits every semester, and I learned to set priorities, and I learned to manage my time wisely. I use a planner for everything. I have to schedule my time. I have to utilize my free time to do something that I like, or something that I'm passionate about, so that I don't burn out and that I stay efficient and stay on task. I'm a self-motivated person and I'm goal-oriented, so I think I can stay on task on programming, because this is what I love to do. I love programming, and I love bringing together the student body for something educational or for something constructive. And I think my experience as a resident assistant has helped me a lot and has given me the skills that I can utilize for the job, and it has prepared me for those kind of tasks and that kind of job. So I'm very grateful to have that experience.
So you talked about being very optimistic and positive. I'd like to know what frustrates you
at work. Okay. I think there is only 2 situations where I get really frustrated at my job. One of them is when I have to deal with a situation regarding mental health, and I only get frustrated because as I said, I'm a very optimistic person, and I like going out of my comfort zone and trying new things. But not everyone is like that, and when I see a student struggling, I think it's really frustrating when I feel like I can't help them. But I also understand that I can't do everything by myself. I understand that I can't fix everything. And that's why it's important to work in a team, and that's why it's really important to have that support system. Like the rest of my staff, they're very supportive, and we work together to solve issues such as like mental health situation, and to discover different ways to help students. So I think I only get frustrated when there's something, when I can help someone, and I feel like I should, but I also know that I can't do everything. So I like to be very informed about the resources that we have on campus, and I like to guide students to the proper resources and proper counseling and professionals, because they're trained better than me, and they can support them and they can offer stuff that like I am not aware of. So I think that is the only thing that frustrates me at my job, but I like to keep myself updated on different events, different support system that we have, and all the different resources that we offer students here at Mary Washington, and how I can utilize them or how I can refer my students to them so they can attain the proper support that they need.
You talk a lot about being part of a team, and in most teams, people tend to take a sort of a natural position within the team. How do you define your own position with a team? Are you more of a leader, a follower? Are you the collaborator or a facilitator?
I would say that I'm a bit of both, a bit of everything at different times, but mostly I believe that I'm a leader because I learned to be independent and self-efficient at a very young age, so it comes naturally to me to lead. But I also like constructive feedback, and I like listening to everyone. I think it's very important for teams to acknowledge that they don't know everything and acknowledge that everybody has a different background and everybody has a different experience, and no matter how much I study something, there is always something to learn, and I think that's why teamwork is very important, because you bring so many different experiences, so many different knowledge, and if you can learn how to utilize that in an effective way for the greater good, I think that is very important. So I like listening to my staff members. I like constructive feedback. I'm not opposed to feedback at all, because I think there is something to learn all the time, no matter how old I am, no matter how good I am at something.
So the next question actually builds on what you were just saying. Give us some insight into your experience working with a diverse range of people. And how do you deal with people who have very different opinions and beliefs?
Okay, so my first job, it was completely out of my comfort zone, and I'm thankful that my mom pushed me for that position. I worked as an airport ambassador, so I worked inside the customs area, and every shift I saw almost 5,000 people. And I worked at the Dallas airport, so it's an international airport, an international environment. I seen people from all around the world, and I had to communicate with most of them because I worked in custom, and I helped them fill their immigration forms. I helped translate, and I helped manage the traffic within customs, and I think that was the first experience that taught me how to deal with diversity and how to deal with people with different backgrounds and different values and morals. And I'm very grateful for that experience because I learned people value different things, and I learned that it's okay for people to have different opinion, and I learned that also everyone is biased, and that is fine as long as you acknowledge that you have your own biases, as long as you acknowledge that people are different and each individual is different, and that is fine. You have to respect others, but it's also very important to set your expectations, to have that clear understanding where if I respect someone, I expect the same respect for myself. And that is how I learned to deal with diversity, and I love that, and I love that kind of environment. It's very different, and it teaches you a lot about different cultures, and it also prepares you for a different situation in life. In any kind of field, you're going to have to deal with different people, different mindset, and that is fine as long as you acknowledge that yes, people have different opinions, and yes, that you might not agree on something, but if you can learn to be respectful, and if you can learn to communicate in a good way where you can have that constructive communication, where you can have that communication where you learn from other people and you can also voice your opinion. It's important to keep your opinion as well and to communicate properly with people.
Lauren, for $10,000, would you pull the wings off of a butterfly?
I learned in one of my environmental class that there's something called intrinsic value to different species and animals, and I respect everything. I respect all creations, and but I'm also human, and I feel that if there is a need for me, or if there is something like an emergency, or if I can utilize that money for something to help other people, or just help someone else, I think I would do it. But I will also take care of the butterfly because I know it won't survive without the proper care. I think I would take care of it as well.
So what do you mean that you would do to take care of it?
I would learn about their natural habitat. I would learn about, I would teach myself about the kind of food, the kind of environment that they need, and I would provide that, because I think harming a creature for, that is just not me. I wouldn't do it unless I have to, and I think I would feel, I would have that accountability and to take care of that butterfly, because I wouldn't want it to suffer.
So do you think you can put a price on your values?
No. My values are very important to me, and as I said before, it's good to understand that people have different values, but it's also good to stay grounded in your own values and in your own morals. And if you know something is right, there is no shame in voicing your opinion. There is no shame in saying this is right and this is wrong and this is why I believe it is so. So no, I don't think I would put monetary value to my morals or values, stuff that I grew up with, because my parents taught me well, and I respect them and I respect what they taught me, and I would like to keep that no matter what.
Do you have any questions for us?
Yes. So for this position, if I was fortunate enough to be accepted, is there going to be training?
Yes.
Okay. And is there anything else I should do in the meantime, or how long should I wait before I hear anything back?
Well, I think we're going to make a decision pretty quickly.
Okay.
I think you can expect to hear back within the next 24 hours.
Okay. Thank you so much. Anything else you guys have for me?
I think so.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for
I'll
coming.
call the next person.
Thank you so much.
It was great meeting you all.
Great meeting you as well.
Thank you again.
Absolutely.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you. Resume is definitely helpful.
Yes.
We did all kind of training program.
She was very composed. She did a great job with body language. She was friendly yet serious. She had a nice smile. She had good posture. She was poised. The only thing that I saw really in her body language or in her personal presentation was she came and seated herself before we invited her to be seated.
Yeah.
Other than that, she did very well on that spectrum of consideration.
I thought on the answers to the questions, I thought she did a nice job of bringing in other aspects of her experience.
Mhm. Yeah.
However, there were a couple of places where I felt like she went too long.
Too long.
And so she should have stopped, because then she
Right.
started repeating.
Yes.
Right.
And I think just getting that natural stop would be helpful.
Yeah.
I agree. She did an excellent job of bringing in specificity that played out to a larger question about her experience and her backdrop. But you're exactly right. There were a couple of times I thought it's time to stop.
Yeah,
Right.
and she thought it too.
Yeah, you could tell her. You could tell she was trying to figure out how to finish.
And then she kept going, yeah.
Yeah, there were two situations that frustrated her, but then she only had one.
One.
So, but in some ways, that might have been actually a response to, this has already been a long enough answer, and
Yeah,
I'm just
I'm
going to
gonna stop
stop.
here.
So, I thought she was really, she felt very genuine and honest, right? She was grappling with
Yes.
things, and she's interviewing for a job, but she's also, you could see this is her.
The authenticity
Right,
was
yeah.
important.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's, when I'm interviewing, I'm looking for who the person is I'm going to be working with. And
Exactly.
so, yeah.
One little red flag, and it's just that I have here, it's always interesting to me for early career professionals when they're talking about kind of being really good at something.
Right.
There's a quote, it doesn't matter how old I am, how good I am at something, I'm trying to still,
Which really, yes, is a little off-putting for
Yeah.
early career, but
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I think the common thing, which is to try to work both sides of every question. And these questions are tended to push to do that, but the curveball question, especially, I think she was trying to play both sides. Although at some level, I think that's probably an honest response, right?
Yes.
Yes. My inherent sense is no, I wouldn't do this, but if there was a reason why I needed that kind of money, and then I would feel really guilty about it, and then I would try to take
Try to
it,
be the
right?
most wise,
So,
try to make amends.
Right.
Yeah. So,
But I think what she also tried to convey at the end is if she's really in a corner, she's
Right.
not going to compromise her
her
value
values.
system.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. She immediately
Which
was
is-
appropriately.
Right.
Eyebrows were raised about that, and she was like, no, there's no question about this. And that she wasn't, to her credit, I don't think she was flustered by that.
Yeah, not at all.
Right, she responded. Yeah. I would not only ask that question.
I thought she did a nice turn on the weakness. She did a really
Yeah.
nice
Oh,
turn
that
on
was great.
That was
That's-
I did like that.
That's such a common question, and that was a pretty good
That was one of the
answer to
better
it.
answers
Yeah.
I've heard.
Yeah.
I would agree. It was a past weakness that I.
Right.
Everything's gonna work. Is that right? They loved watching it. I mean, they were so engaged. Yeah. What did she say? All right, so you're ready for number 2?
We are. I do have a quick question.
Sure.
For you. I know it's still streaming.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Oh.
if I can, are we not streaming?
Oh, we're streaming.
Okay.
She was fairly quiet. I'm asking him to turn up the volume a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
They can hear her better than they can hear you, so if you
Me
could.
personally?
No,
All
everyone,
of
just
us.
in general, if you
Okay.
could speak up a little bit more.
Okay, so if you'll come closer, I'm going to ask you this question. Where's the camera?
That's not a problem. No.
What's that?
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good, thank you. Nice to meet you, Dino.
Dina, nice to meet you. I'm Kimberly. Good to see you, Dino.
Nice to see you again, it's Lisa. Nice to meet you, Dino. So before we begin, if I could give you a copy of my resume. Here you are.
Thank you.
No problem.
Right. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
So I'd like to know, just to give you a quick overview of how the interview will proceed. Each of us will ask a question. For the most part, we'll go in order. And I'm going to kick off with the first question.
Sounds good. Can't wait.
All right. So tell me a little bit about the qualifications and experience that you have that makes you a qualified candidate.
So when it comes to this position, I believe that I do have the potential to truly benefit the position. So in terms of my involvement on campus, I have been in multiple scenarios in which I have been an assistant in setting up programs and helping set up various activities for students and alumni in regards to student alumni ambassadors. I have connected personally with the student body. I was part of the Dean Student Advisory Board my freshman year here for the College of Business, where we talked to students and made sure that the College of Business was making sure that their needs were being met by the College of Business. And also I'm currently a speaking center consultant, in which students come with their presentations, whether it be oral or video, and we go over any type of issues they may have, how to improve, and how to truly construct a solidified individual. So in terms of this position, I believe that my past experience with campus involvement would definitely help combine all of those into one with the SAE position.
What do you consider to be your greatest strength and also your greatest weakness?
I knew this question was coming up. So when it comes to my greatest strength, I believe my accountability and time management skills are something that I do pride myself on. So when it comes to my accountability, I am always willing to work no matter what the situation may be. Whether it be weather, whatever it may be, I'm always willing to come into the job and put my best performance. And in terms of my time management skills, I do pride myself on that because I do have 2 jobs at the moment, juggling the speaking center and my weekend job, which as an operator at a car dealership in my area. And so working 7 days a week, I've truly learned how to properly arrange my days from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed, to make sure that everything is being taken care of in terms of my schooling, my professional life, and my social life. Now, when it comes to my biggest weakness, I like to be as genuine and as honest as possible. My biggest weakness is I like to overanalyze every situation that I'm given. And I have struggled with this in the past in terms of stress because I am a perfectionist when it comes to getting the job done. But what I have learned is that you can trust your instinct as well. In fact, a couple semesters ago, I took an intro or principles of management class in which I read a book called Thin Slicing by Malcolm Gladwell, where he said that your instinct can be one of your greatest strengths. So now when I'm given any situation, I learn to overcome that over-analytical side of me by incorporating about 70% analysis, 30% instinct, because once you do a job and once you get in the rhythm of things, you can almost 99% of the time trust your instinct in making sure you get the desired outcome.
So this position, requires managing lots of different projects, lots of different events simultaneously. You talked a little bit about your ability to time management, but specifically in this position, how would you manage your time? How would you prioritize the various projects?
So when it comes to this position, obviously the SAE is a big position and a big organization for the University of Mary Washington. It's assist the students, the faculty, and make sure everything is kind of in a balance. So in terms of project management, I would definitely prioritize every single project I am given. When it comes to this position, I would solely focus on my job at the SAE. Now, when it comes to managing my time, obviously I do pride myself on my accountability, so I try to make sure that everything is taken care of in the most efficient and best way possible. So when it comes to the projects that I will be assigned with at the position, if I am selected, I will definitely prioritize them. And also, another thing that I do also pride myself on is I'm not afraid to be a team player. To kind of expand on that, when I'm given a task in which I myself don't have all the strengths necessary, I'm not afraid to ask a fellow colleague or a fellow coworker. But the same thing being is if one of my colleagues or coworkers also is faced with the same situation, I'm not afraid to stay a little bit longer after work, help them get that project done. Because at the end of the day, the main goal is to make sure that the SAE is performing at its most efficient and best way possible, and that is something that I would strive to accomplish.
So what frustrates you at work?
What frustrates me at work usually is when, with my current job, my speaking center job at Mary Washington, I honestly couldn't be happier with it because everyone is it's a nice work environment. Our consumers are students, so it's very nice to connect the student body. But in terms of my other position as an operator for the car dealership, one of my biggest, I guess, frustrations is when customers scream at you and when they, just go all out. And one thing that I have learned with that is how to properly control the situation, how to manage it, whether it is my fault or someone else's fault. Because at the end of the day, your coworkers are your teammates, and you don't want to send that, rowdy customer or parent or whoever the part of the situation may be. You don't want to throw them on your teammate. So what I've learned is how to calm the situation, how to professionally analyze it, how to give them the best possible outcome, and how to make sure that their needs are taken care of in the best way possible with whatever the problem may have been.
You had described being on a team and that you weren't afraid to be a team player. I'm curious what you see as your natural role in a team. Are you the leader? Are you the follower? Are you the collaborator? Are you the facilitator? What role do you most naturally take?
So when it comes to teamwork, I like to be a manager. I like to manage and I like to allocate resources properly. I like to dictate who does what. But I'm also not afraid to be a collaborator. If someone has better strengths than me in whatever the task we're trying to accomplish, I'm not afraid to give up that position to them because, again, efficiency is key to any project that we are tasked with. So preferably I like the management style, but I'm very open to all positions when it comes to teamwork.
Dino, give us some insight into your experiences working with a diverse range of people. And then, how do you deal with people who have very different opinions and beliefs than you do?
Ooh, that's a good question. So when it comes to working with a diverse population, I mean, we live in the United States and we will get all types of people, whether it be different races, different religions, different political backgrounds. And the one thing I have learned throughout my time, not just in the workforce, but in school and with personal experience, is that everyone always believes they are right, no matter where they're coming from. So when I am faced with a situation where someone has a completely differing opinion from me, like for example, I consider myself to be pro-choice when it comes to abortion rights. But if I were to be presented, for example, at the speaking center with a pro-life presentation, I would not let that influence my feedback or my criteria and how to improve it. I would look at solely the structure. I would not let my biases get in the way. And that is something, again, that I am pretty proud of myself about, is that I am able to take a very centrist approach to every situation. I like to be in the middle ground. I understand where both sides are coming from, and I try to accommodate them to the best of my abilities.
If someone offered you $10,000 to pull the wings off of a butterfly, would you do it?
$10,000 to pull the wings? No. I personally could not do it because I find it, immoral in a way. I like to stick to ethics and morality, and if I was honestly given that opportunity, while I would like that $10,000, I know the right choice would be not to do it, so I would have to say no.
So if someone offered you $10,000 to step on a cockroach, would you do it?
I still would not. I still would not, because I guess it's still a living being in a way. I mean, I understand if it's harming you in a way, then I would intervene, but if it was just a cockroach in the middle of the floor and I was offered $10,000, I could not, because morally, religiously, I just could not bring myself to do it for the money.
But you've done it otherwise.
If it's like a roach infestation, I'm not afraid to use, whatever chemicals they have, but if it's just one, for a roach, I can't.
You've set yourself on a very high moral ground.
I try to consider myself a moral person. I always try to find the best, most ethical solution to any situation I'm given.
you have any questions for us?
No, honestly, with my over-analytical side, I've done plenty of research, but do you guys have any questions for me? Would you like me to go into depth into something that I wasn't clear about?
Good. I'm good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for meeting with me. Good luck with your decision.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Take your time.
Thank you. Nice to see you again. Thank you so much.
So in the interest of full disclosure, I know Dino from our office.
Yes.
And-
Right.
And so I'm going to.
I got that impression.
Yeah, a natural bias to him, so I want to mitigate that a bit. He is a very charming young man, so.
I thought he did a nice job. He had great confidence, but not overly confident.
Yeah.
So, I walked in, shook hands, I thought that was good. The one, if I had two critiques, one would be being a little bit more specific with examples. So I felt vague at times, but yet I felt like he actually had the experience to
Yeah.
speak to. And the other one, which I wrote, never share your political position.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
Yes.
Ever.
Yes.
I was going to phrase that as, that's an interesting tactical choice.
Yes, yes, Yes.
Which can backfire on.
yes.
Right. Greatly.
I think we
Yeah.
all immediately responded to that.
Yeah, he finished too quickly each of his answers.
Yes.
He was succinct, whereas
right,
the first one
right,
was
yeah.
longer, but
Yeah,
yes.
verbose, but, but he also, efficiency is key. Like I wrote
Right,
that
right,
down,
right.
so I think that there is a sense of, there's a straightforwardness to it. It was a little concerned in terms of the qualifications that what we got was mostly a recitation of the resume without a connection to the
Yes.
connection to the actual roles that the position requires. But I think you might argue that there's a natural fit there, but I think in some ways it's the interviewee's job to make that case explicit. So.
And yet I thought it was interesting because I think, again, having some very limited
Sure.
personal knowledge, I thought his words belied his actual approach. Where he said that as a team player, he liked to manage. He used the word dictate. And I
He
thought,
did.
well, that's not actually his normal approach, but if all I had was the value of this
Yeah,
interview, that would have sent out
Mhm.
all sorts of red flags for me.
Absolutely.
It's interesting that he described, because when we gave him the choice of leader, follower, collaborator, facilitator, he said manager.
Which wasn't
He meant-
part of
He
the-
meant leader, but that wasn't part of the
Mhm.
list. It's not a huge thing, but to me those are different words and they mean different things
They
in
mean
the
different
context
things.
of most organizations. So, yeah, but I also, thoughtful, principled,
Nice, again, in terms of presentation. I would like to have seen a jacket on, but his body language was very warm. He displayed a lot of energy
Oh, yeah.
and enthusiasm. He did, as Lauren did, a good job of making eye contact.
Oh, yeah, I think that was
And
great.
his use of
yeah.
humor, I thought was
Yes.
really nice.
Yeah.
It was
And
well
he made
placed.
us laugh.
Yeah, he did,
And that
multiple times.
Always
Yeah.
wins a group over,
It
so.
goes a long way,
Mhm.
Yeah, that's.
especially in the middle of a series of interviews.
Yes, yes,
Right.
yes.
All right.
Okay.
Jen Monroe.
Jen, very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Kimberly. Jen, Lisa Bolden.
Jen, nice to meet you. Nice to
Jen
meet
Miller.
you. I have a resume for you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please have a seat.
to have you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. And you go by Jen?
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. All right, so Jen, I'm just going to give you a quick overview of how we'll conduct the interview, so that you're aware. We have several questions, and we will essentially rotate the questions. So I'll ask you one, and we'll move on down the line, and then there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions at the end.
Okay.
Okay. So the first one is, what qualifications and experience do you have that make you a qualified candidate for the position?
For this position, I believe that I have a lot of leadership background and leadership experience, whether it's through a variety of roles on campus or off campus. Some of those experiences are, I'm a peer career consultant in the Center for Career and Professional Development. I am also the Vice President of Marketing and Social Media for the Student Alumni Ambassadors, as well as the Student Outreach Coordinator for the Marketing Club. Those qualifications align with the job description because I'm engaged in, the UMW community. I'm being a role model and mentoring other students and alumni, especially, for example, working in the Career Center. I am performing those one-on-one resume reviews and cover letters and answering questions and mentoring those students that come in with specific career-related questions or just personal relationships with them. They're definitely skills, and my leadership skills align well with the job description. Thank you.
What do you consider to be your greatest strength and the greatest weakness?
My greatest strength, I think, is the ability to make decisions. I'm a creative thinker, so I am always open-minded and like to analyze the whole situation before really coming to a solution. And a weakness of mine would be time management, just as we all like to take on a bunch of tasks. I realized time management was a weakness of mine when I first got to college. I didn't have that, set schedule, or didn't realize how much free time I really had. So to fix that, I had bought a planner, and I live out of my planner now, 4 years later, where I have my class schedule, my work schedule, what assignments need to be done when, and where I need to be with meetings or group projects, and I leave those little rooms in there so that I can do my homework, or in case some curveball of an assignment or a group project happened to come about. Definitely have been working on and succeeding in my time management skills to help move me forward.
Well, that leads right into my question, which is, so this position requires the managing of many different projects, many different events, all of them often happening simultaneously. So can you talk a little bit about, if you were in this position, how would you manage your time and prioritize the projects?
I would definitely prioritize and manage my time by putting what needs to be done first and what needs to be done last, and rate them on a scale of this needs to be done right now, and then this can wait a little bit. Definitely managing my time that way would be effective in this kind of position in running events and figuring out what needs to be done and what key aspects need to partake to make this event happen and occur.
What frustrates you most at work?
I would definitely say when I'm putting in all the work and not other people aren't putting in as much work, or they just don't care, or they think that because I'm going to step up and take my role in this position, and I'm going to step up and take my role within a group project or a project, that they can just sit back and relax and not work hard with me. I believe that working in a team setting is when everybody works together for that shared common goal, and that is to, in essence, complete the project and succeed in that project. So it frustrates me when I step up to do the project or go the extra mile to complete something, and because other people see me doing that, they won't do that with me. They just sit back and relax. So that's definitely something that frustrates me.
Can I follow up to that? How do you encourage people how do you bring people along when you find that happening?
I would hope that my motivation in itself would, help want them to succeed with me. Incentives don't really work. I guess it depends on what they are. I would say something along the lines like, if we put in this much work now, we won't have to be scrambling later to get the project done.
or if we use our time management skills correctly and we plan correctly, then we can definitely not be rushing so much, or we'll be, better prepared. If we needed to give a presentation, for example, if we prepare now and we do all the work now, even though the presentation is 5 days from now, it'll just give us those extra days, those couple of days to practice. And when you go to the presentation, you're even more confident. So I would definitely want to motivate my coworker or team member to say, let's do this now, so that we're not in that crunch time moment when the time comes.
So you talked about your frustration in a team and how you hope to motivate people, but what do you think is your most natural role in the team? Are you the leader? Are you the follower? Are you the collaborator, facilitator? What feels right to you in a team?
In a team, I personally thrive in team settings. I believe that my leadership abilities, they come out instantly. I think it's just like an instinct of mine. Like, I'm in a team setting and you don't have to say, oh, Jen's the leader. It kind of just is all my past experiences, everything I've done that led up to that, whether that's a project or something, is just kind of how I've always been. I've always been on time, prepared, had things like materials prepared. So in a team setting, I would definitely say my leadership abilities rise above, and whether somebody's on the same page with me or not is you can tell. But on the other flip side, I am a good follower as well. So if sometimes people have skills that I don't have, or people are better at doing something that I may not have the same skills. In that instance, I know when to take a step back and realize that, okay, this person's better at this than I am, so that they can lead that, or I can follow and share different ideas, because I know working in team settings, everybody has different ideas and different ways and viewpoints. So in that scenario, I am a good leader, but I am also a good follower.
Jen, can you give us an insight into your experiences working with a diverse range of people? And then the second part of that is, how do you deal with people who have very different opinions and beliefs than you?
I believe everybody has different ways and different opinions. For example, I work at Dunkin' Donuts, where people's age ranges are different because different stages of their lives. And sometimes some people are there on their college break just to make the quick money. Some people are there to make a living because that's all that at the moment they can do. So in that sense, I understand the diversity of the people and the cultures, and understanding that aspect. And what was the second part of the question?
Just how do you deal with people
How do
who
I
have
deal with it?
very different opinions and beliefs than you?
I'm a good listener, so if somebody has an opinion, I like to listen to it. I'm not going to shut them down because they have an opinion, just as if they gave an opinion to me or I had an opinion, I would hope they would respect it just as much as I would. So definitely respecting one another, that's the big thing, and the ability to empathize. So if I can recognize my own feelings and I can recognize my own thought process, then I can then recognize somebody else's feelings. So the ability to empathize and respect one another is how I work with a diverse group of people.
For $10,000, would you pull the wings off of a butterfly?
No, I'm not.
For $10,000, would you step on a cockroach?
No.
And why not?
Because they are living creatures. So if somebody said that, for example, if I was a cockroach and somebody wanted to step on me for $10,000, they just ruined my life, my hopes, and my dreams. So I would not want to diminish somebody else's just because the prize is greater. If there's a greater prize for something, I wouldn't want to put somebody else down. It could apply to a workforce or a company, for example. If I'm the leader, I'm not going to diminish somebody's feelings or put somebody down in a team setting just to make me stand out or make me the better person. So when killing a bug or stepping on a bug for $10,000, that doesn't mean anything to me, because I wouldn't want the $10,000. They would rather have the bug living so that he can go create a life for himself and move on.
Do you have any questions for us?
I do. One question that I had was, so research shows that diversity increases job opportunities. What has UMW or the incentives that UMW has been doing or taking to increase diversity on campus?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that the university has just recently adopted a plan with its Board of Visitors that includes a diversity and inclusion plan in terms of increasing the diversity of our student body, increasing the diversity of our faculty and staff, and beginning to work through a 15-point plan, actually, to address this particular issue. So we absolutely agree that that's an integral part of what the institution will continue to work on.
Another question I had too was, so this job provides students the opportunity to grow, a part of the SAE mission statement. As a faculty in this position, would I have the ability to grow within this position itself?
Well, I think certainly one of the great testaments of our Mary Washington students is their great potential to build upon their past experiences and to continue to bring that potential forth in new and fresh ways. And I think that's even true for me. I was here as a student many years ago, and here I am back today as vice president for the university. And I think it's really incumbent upon the person who's in a role to demonstrate what they were willing to do and how hard they're willing to work for the university. And that determines his or her success.
So do usually UMW faculty hire UMW alumni? Is that a trend?
I went here as a student, and I'm back as a faculty member and as an administrator. So we certainly look kindly on our alums when we come back. So I mean, and I think you have some sense of it. That's a sign of it's a sign of the success of the institution. I think that people who have gone here want to come back. So.
Yes.
And as someone who is not, I think that it contributes to the diversity of thought that's brought to the table as well. But it's wonderful to work with people who have history and just that grounding as a from the institution.
Is there any further questions for me?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I also have thank you letters for you all. Because I wanted to give you them. It was very nice to meet
Very
you.
nice to meet you as well. Thank you.
It was very nice to meet you. Thank you. It was very nice meeting
Very
with
nice.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Introduce a message for you from Jeremy. You all can feel free to deliberate about this last candidate, and we want to do that on screen, and just give me a signal when you're ready for the final deliberation.
All right, so we'll deliberate publicly, and then we'll let you know when we're ready to cut the string. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So Jen,
Yeah.
nice touch with the thank you note.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a long handwritten
And
thank
Yeah,
you.
wow.
very long handwritten thank you note. That's very neat.
Of course, normally you wouldn't present it at the time.
You wouldn't,
personalized,
right, but that
she-
doesn't have
this is
an
a
opportunity.
The simulated environment.
Right,
Right.
that was very smart.
Yeah.
In fact, entire package, other than
Yeah.
the
I know.
year, the entire package was not only well composed, but she was very smooth in
Yeah.
sharing it with us. It was
Yeah.
very fluid. She seemed very comfortable, and I thought her entire package, her dress, her manner, was very professional. I could put her in front of any audience and feel comfortable
Yeah,
that she would
absolutely.
represent us well. And as silly as it seems, the fact that she wore hose told me she wants to be a grown-up. I don't like wearing hose either, but
I did not notice that,
I
but I
did notice
understand
that.
that some interviewers
Yeah.
will.
I did.
In a conservative environment.
In a conservative, in banking or
Banking, yes.
law, that would be absolutely appropriate.
Absolutely.
That was a smart choice on her part to go more conservative and more serious.
I would say one of the things that struck me throughout each of her answers, I thought she showed confidence. I liked that a lot. But we kept writing I throughout. I think she could have flipped the answer a little bit from time to time to really focus on the position and how she would fit into it as
Right.
opposed to herself and her own skills.
Right.
Because at the end of by the end of the interview, I was really in the mindset of this is a great individual contributor. I'm not sure how much she would work well with others or be able to exert influence.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think I noticed that particularly in the question about. I knew the answer to number 6 before.
Right.
Right. I mean, I knew she was the leader, right? But I was glad to see that she did then sort of step back and say, well, if I don't have the skill set, or if I'm not the right person, then I can be a good contributor. But that felt much less natural than. I mean, she's natural leader. I have no doubt that in group
Absolutely.
projects she steps forward
Right.
and does that. You know, I guess I wanted a better answer about the motivation of fellow team members when
Yes.
they didn't. But I understand some of that, where some of that frustration comes from.
In terms of diversity, we started off meandering there at the beginning. I didn't think that I thought she was going to go in a good direction.
Yeah.
She talked about the diverse experiences that would bring people to her current workplace.
Right.
Some for a life income, some because they need spending income. And I thought she was going to go somewhere really meaningful with
Yeah.
that. And then she sort of stepped back when I think she could have played that out
Yeah.
in a way that would have really reflected maturity and a depth of thought. So I think she could have taken that further in a slightly different direction. Then she stepped back. But I think she did say that at the end,
Yeah.
in the sense of talking about being a good listener and realizing that she needs to be empathetic, and recognizing the values of other people.
Yeah, I will say that confidence just shone through, and that's really appealing in a lot of ways. But the answers were in some ways so brisk that
Yes.
that I ended up not writing as much down.
The ability to influence worries me.
Yeah.
That was the,
Oh, I see. Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
As much as there was confidence, and it could have been the briskness of the answers.
Yeah. But very polished.
Very polished, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't buy the butterfly answer.
No, I didn't
Nope.
either. She did not sell that.
She did not sell that.
Yeah.
And maybe that's me being somewhat cynical, but talking about them being living creatures, you have this sort of response, come on, let's get real.
Right.
Yeah, part of that was the slippage to human beings.
Right,
Mhm.
right,
Yeah, so,
exactly.
Yeah, that was a tough question.
But great personal presentation.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, I think we're ready to go
Okay.
into our final.
Yep.
Carlin, you want to turn it off?